The entertainment industry is often described as ruthless, fleeting, and brutally fast-paced. A place where friendships can be as fragile as glass and romances collapse under the weight of public scrutiny. Yet in the midst of that dazzling chaos, a story has unfolded that seems to defy the odds. For over a decade, Jisoo of Blackpink and actor-model Soo Hyuk maintained what the world believed was nothing more than a strong, reliable friendship. Now, after 11 long years of quiet companionship, late-night conversations, shared struggles, and relentless speculation, the two have finally confirmed what fans dared not hope: their bond has transformed into love. This revelation has set the internet ablaze, leaving fans around the world both stunned and enchanted by what many are already calling the most heartwarming love story in modern K-pop history. Their story begins in 2014, when Jisoo was still a wide-eyed trainee under YG Entertainment, long before the roar of stadium crowds and flashing lights that would one day follow her everywhere. At the time, Soo Hyuk was already an established figure, an actor who had successfully transitioned from modeling to the silver screen. He was admired for his enigmatic aura, sharp features, and roles that ranged from brooding anti-heroes to deeply human characters. Their worlds collided within the interconnected circles of YG, where Soo Hyuk had long been a familiar face through his friendships with Big Bang and other YG icons. It was in those casual, almost incidental moments of creative collaboration that Jisoo first encountered the man who would one day mean far more than she could have imagined. At first, there was little more than polite exchanges and light conversations. Jisoo, still a trainee then, carried the air of someone carefully treading the tightrope of discipline and dreams. Soo Hyuk, older and seasoned, often found himself in the position of a guide, offering words of encouragement without expectation. To those who witnessed the early stages of their acquaintance, it looked like nothing more than the natural bond between an established actor and a hopeful young trainee. Yet seeds were quietly planted. In the countless hours spent backstage, in the laughter shared during late-night dinners with mutual friends, and in the mutual respect for each other's dedication to their crafts, a friendship began to grow. When Blackpink debuted in 2016, the world was quick to recognize Jisoo as not only a singer with captivating visuals but also a woman with an undeniable presence. Soo Hyuk, always supportive from a distance, never once overshadowing her journey. He was there in the background, quietly cheering her on, whenever schedules allowed. Their paths would cross again, sometimes in group gatherings, sometimes in fleeting private meetups shielded from the public eye. What followed were years defined by separate careers but constant connection. Jisoo became a global superstar, commanding stages across continents, while Soo Hyuk continued to carve his path in acting with bold roles that deepened his reputation as one of Korea's most versatile talents. Through it all, their friendship endured. There were whispers, of course. Paparazzi photos surfaced of them exiting similar venues or attending the same events. Fan forums buzzed with theories: are they more than friends? Is there something they're not telling us? Yet whenever the speculation threatened to spiral out of control, the two would shrug it off, each insisting that they were simply close friends. The beauty of their bond lay in its constancy. In an industry where trust is a rare currency, Jisoo and Soo Hyuk built a foundation of unshakable support. During Blackpink's grueling world tours, Jisoo often confessed in interviews that the loneliness of hotel rooms weighed heavily on her. She had a confidant just a call away. For Soo Hyuk, who endured the pressure of embodying complex characters and living up to critical expectations, Jisoo became the listening ear who reminded him of his worth beyond the screen. They were each other's anchor, tethered to reality in a sea of flashing cameras and endless scrutiny. Theirs was a friendship that fans envied. Unlike fleeting industry connections, this one lasted through changing seasons, career highs and lows, and personal challenges. Every rumor that threatened to derail it only seemed to strengthen their resolve to remain exactly what they said they were: friends. Yet somewhere, beneath the layers of denial and the insistence that they were nothing more, a quiet evolution was taking place. It began as camaraderie was gradually deepening into something neither could quite admit, not to themselves, and certainly not to the world. The turning point was subtle, almost imperceptible to outsiders. Around 2023, when Jisoo began pursuing acting more seriously and Soo Hyuk was once again immersed in high-profile projects, they found themselves spending more time together under the pretext of professional overlap. Shared conversations began stretching into hours, to be casual catch-ups became emotionally charged dialogues, filled with unspoken confessions lingering between laughter and silence. For the first time, the lines of friendship began to blur. Internet, sharp-eyed as ever, noticed the shift too. Fan-captured moments revealed glances that lasted a second too long. Smiles that seemed more intimate than casual. Still, the official stance remained unchanged. They were friends. They repeated, nothing more. But behind closed doors, Jisoo and Soo Hyuk began asking themselves the same question: if friendship had carried them this far, could love be the next step? As 2024 drew to a close, it became clearer. Neither had planned for it, but life had drawn them closer than ever. Both had matured. Both had endured the highs and lows of fame. And both had realized that happiness sometimes hides in the most familiar places. And so, after 11 years of steadfast friendship, they chose to take the leap. When Jisoo and Soo Hyuk finally confirmed their relationship, the collective gasp of the global fanbase echoed across social media platforms. Twitter trended worldwide. Instagram exploded with reposted headlines. And news outlets scrambled to cover what was already being dubbed the love story of the decade. Yet beyond the frenzy lay a deeper question: why now? After all these years, they decide to take their friendship to the next level? The answer begins with time itself. Time had been both their barrier and their greatest gift. In their 20s, Jisoo and Soo Hyuk were consumed by ambition. Jisoo, as part of Blackpink, had little room to breathe, let alone pursue romance. Every waking moment was devoted to rehearsals, recordings, and the relentless pace of international fame. Soo Hyuk, meanwhile, was building his acting career brick by brick, conscious of every role that could define or derail him. For years, their bond remained firmly rooted in friendship because neither was ready to risk it becoming something more. But as the years passed, priorities shifted. Jisoo, now entering her 30s, began speaking openly in interviews about longing for stability, about the importance of cherishing people who truly understood her. Soo Hyuk, too, began embracing a quieter perspective on life, recognizing the need for connection beyond the transient admiration of fans and critics. Somewhere in that mutual desire for authenticity, friendship blossomed into something undeniable. They gave each other a chance because, after 11 years, they realized no one else knew them as deeply. Soo Hyuk had witnessed Jisoo's transformation from a hopeful trainee to a global icon. Yet he always saw the girl behind the spotlight, the one who laughed too loudly at bad jokes, the one who carried burdens with grace. Jisoo had seen Soo Hyuk weather storms of criticism, navigate the demands of acting, and emerge stronger. Yet she cherished the man behind the roles, the one who found joy in quiet evenings and still believed in simple happiness. Trust was the foundation. Unlike new romances that often stumble under the weight of uncertainty, theirs had been tested for over a decade. They already knew each other's flaws, strengths, and vulnerabilities. There was nothing to hide, nothing to prove. What remained was simply the courage to admit what had always been there. Another reason was timing. Both finally felt ready to prioritize personal happiness. For Jisoo, the question was no longer about how the world would perceive her, but about what would truly make her fulfilled. For Soo Hyuk, the decision was about choosing love that had already withstood the test of time. Together, they realized that the risk of losing each other as friends paled in comparison to the chance of building something even greater as partners. They broke the news. Reactions were immediate and intense. Fans were shocked, unable to reconcile the decade-long narrative of just friends with this new reality. Others rejoiced, calling it the most natural progression of their story. Global media outlets painted them as the epitome of a slow-burn romance, a term that resonated with millions who had secretly rooted for them all along. In their joint statement, Jisoo and Soo Hyuk said simply, "We have shared 11 years of friendship, and in that time, we realized that our feelings have grown. Decided to give love a chance." It was understated, elegant, and deeply moving. No theatrics, no exaggeration, just a heartfelt acknowledgement of the truth they had embraced. The significance of their decision stretches beyond personal happiness. It challenges the culture of secrecy that often forces idols and actors to hide relationships. It represents maturity, courage, and the reminder that love can thrive even under the harsh spotlight of fame. As they step into this new chapter, the future appears bright. Already, Fans speculate about collaborations, perhaps a drama featuring the two, or joint appearances in fashion campaigns. Brands are likely to clamor for them, not only because of their star power but because of the authenticity of their story. Together, they embody resilience, patience, and the rare magic of love born from friendship. And their journey is a testament to time's quiet power. 11 years of laughter, late-night calls, and unwavering loyalty culminated in a choice that feels both inevitable and extraordinary. For Jisoo and Soo Hyuk, it's not a lightning bolt but a steady flame. One that endured storms, waited patiently, and finally revealed itself when the moment was right. As one fan beautifully wrote online, sometimes the best love stories aren't written in a rush. They're written by years, by trust, by the courage to finally say, yes, let's give us a chance. And so, Jisoo and Soo Hyuk stand hand in hand today. No longer just friends, but lovers bound by time, trust, and the promise of a love story that was 11 years in the making.